Welcome back to Marco's Minute, where every week we're going to break down a handicapping theory to help you in your own handicapping. This week I want to talk about end of the season college football. As the season's winding down, there's a lot of teams that have nothing to play for. How do you know which way to go with these teams? It's always hard enough to pick winners when both teams are trying, but when you're looking at teams that have given up on the season and you got to try to handicap motivation at the end of the season, it can become a little tricky process. One thing I'll tell you with this is these teams that have nothing to play for, and when I say nothing to play for, they're not going to go to a bowl. They don't have the minimum 6 wins. And obviously, if they don't have 6 wins, they're not in their conference running. So what is left for them? Well, what's left is one of two things. Spoiler role to somebody that has a shot to get into the playoff, the top 4 teams. If they can end that team's dream of going to the national championship playoff round, then that would make their season. And then obviously their rivalry. We'll be coming up to the rivalry week here, the last 2 weeks of the season. Thanksgiving weekend's loaded with all of the rivalry games. In that week, you can throw out the stat sheets because you'll see teams play above their heads. Why? Because basically that's their bowl game. They're not going anywhere, so if they can beat their arch rival, that will be their satisfaction and something to hang their hat on for a dismal season. So be careful looking at these teams. Don't dismiss these teams that have packed it in if it's one of those two situations. And don't overlook the rivalry aspect. You can look at a team, and I always think about the coach for Ohio State, won all those games, John Cooper, took him to a bowl game every year, but whenever he got to the game against Michigan, he lost that game. You don't lose to your rival. End up costing him his job, even though he had one of the best records at Ohio State. So look at those angles at the end of the season, help you with your handicapping. I'll be back next week with another Marco's Minute here on wagertalk.com.